So, you want to post audio and video to a website? How are you going to do it? Well, first you need to know the steps to publishing. First, you need to register a web address, store your stuff, and start a blog to post your stuff. Blog just helps you post the stuff in chronological order and be able to subscribe to it. That you do through an RSS, which is called Really Simple Syndication. Just basically something you subscribe to your blog or your podcast or your video cast. In registering a web address, you can use a free service like Libsyn or Blogger, but the trouble is your website will look like yourpodcastname.libsyn.com or yourpodcastname.blogspot.com. Not exactly an easy thing to remember. Or you could buy an address that says yourpodcastname.com, something very simple that somebody will remember. You need some space to put your stuff, though. How much space do you need? Well, got to figure out your needs, the length of your show, audio and video quality. Higher the quality, the bigger the file. How often you do the show, and how many past shows you want to keep up. Well, not good at math, but here's a little math for you anyway. At least 1 gigabyte equals 1,000 megabytes. A typical MP3 song is around 3 to 5 megabytes, encoded at 128 kilobytes per second. Let's look at it this way. For music, it's 120 kilobytes per second. But if you want talk with some music, 96 is probably what you're going to do if you're doing a podcast where you have some intro music and a little bit of talk. Lower quality, 64 kbs for talk only. But let's just not have it too bad. So let's say at 96 kilobytes per second, it's about 0.7 megabytes per minute. The average show is 30 minutes, so that equals 21 megabytes. 3 episodes per month is 63 megabytes per month. 1 year of shows is 12 months at 3 shows at 21 megabytes equals 756 megabytes. My God, that's 3/4 of a gig. So, that's your space. But what about bandwidth? That's something that people don't always think about, is that every time somebody hits your show, you're getting penalized for how popular your show is. So to calculate your data transfer or bandwidth, you want the average size of your show multiplied by the number of people that download, multiplied by the number of shows you release each month. For example, if 300 people download a show, that's 20 megabytes. You have 20 times 300, which is 6,000 megabytes or 6 gigabytes of data transfer for each show. So make sure you don't get too popular. 4 shows, 24 gigabytes of transfer per month. This is where blogs come in handy when posting your audio or video content. A blog, as you might already know, is an online journal or a publication that's updated frequently, hopefully by you. The more frequent, the more popular the show or the blog might be. It's a quick way to publish without a lot of technical expertise, and it puts things in order, so the newest stuff is always at the top, and fairly easy to use. It uses news feeds that can be subscribed to by readers. That's the RSS that you saw earlier in the show. It's an easy way to publish a podcast, and it maintains your site. Think of a blog as a podcast that is audio, or blog that's audio. So, what are your options? There's basically 3 different routes you can choose. There's the free hosting. That's the hobbyist solution. You can use blogger.com by Google, which is the free blog service. To create the RSS feed, you're going to need to use something like feedburner.com, which is also free. And to store your files. So if you don't have a web hosting spot, you need a place to store your files. And Our Media is a place to do it. It's a nonprofit place, but keep in mind the content you put up there needs to be not copyrighted, and anything you put up there can be used by others as well. It's free, easy, but there's no support, no stats. You don't know who's going to your site, and there's no guarantee for uptime because it's free. You can't really customize it very much to look like your own website, your own identity, your own professional appearance, or make it look like the rest of the pages on your site, let alone the domain name doesn't even look like your site. And the podcast is not available right away because it needs to be screened for content to make sure it's appropriate. The next solution is a small business level solution. Small to medium-sized companies, people might use Libsyn. It's got no limits on the transfers, no cost for a growing audience, so you don't have to worry about that bandwidth. You pay for how much data you upload each month. So the length and the frequency, a basic account is 100 megabytes per month, or 20 minutes of quality music each week, so they say. And their plans range a little bit from 100 to 800 megabytes of storage. It's cheap, good service, and it gives you a lot of those things you need, like the blog, the feed, the site customizations, and stats. But it's a small company, and so it does tend to be down quite a bit. If you really are serious about this and you want to have your own identity and make it look like that blog and podcast is really incorporated into your site, and also is picked up better by search engines because it's actually hosted on your own site. So people can go from your blog to other areas of your website depending on the keywords that you put into your blog. Site customizations and stats, too, are exactly accurate. You know exactly what's happening when, how much bandwidth is getting transferred, what people are going to your site, from what areas. What you do is you get your own web hosting account and you install something called WordPress, which is one of the leading server blog programs that are being installed on people's websites. There's a lot of templates available for WordPress, a lot of plugins that are available for WordPress. It's a very easy blogging software to use. FeedBurner can also give you that RSS in addition to what WordPress can offer too. So it's just an extra added bonus that's free. There's a lot of hosting choices out there, but you should look for one that has good data transfer and a good amount of space. The ones for the prices at the moment, at the time of this particular show, is POW Web and Globat. Good prices, uptime guarantee, good stats, lots of options for customizations, WordPress already there ready for you to install just by a click of a button. The trouble with your own hosting, though, is there's those bandwidth limitations that you don't have with Libsyn or Blogger.com.